Samsung's next foldable lineup is already turning heads, and the reason is simple. The Galaxy Z Fold 8 and a rumored new model called the Galaxy Z Fold 8 Wide have reportedly surfaced through leaks connected to Samsung's One UI 9 software. When a leak is tied to software, it often carries a different weight than a random rumor, because internal UI references can hint at real device shapes, display scaling, camera layouts, and the kind of hardware Samsung is actively testing behind the scenes. And if these leaks are accurate, Samsung isn't just preparing a typical yearly upgrade. It may be planning two distinct Fold experiences designed for two very different types of users. The first device is what most people expect: the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8, a continuation of the familiar Fold formula. Think slim, tall, and pocketable when closed, then opening into a large inner display built for multitasking, productivity, and media. The interesting part is that the design changes being discussed so far sound subtle, like the kind of refinements Samsung usually makes when it's focusing on polish, durability tweaks, usability improvements, and a more refined feel overall. But the second device is where things get seriously exciting: the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8 Wide, a model that allegedly breaks away from the tall and narrow foldable identity and shifts toward a shorter, wider, passport-style form factor. And that single change, wider proportions, could solve one of the biggest complaints people have had about book-style foldables for years. Let's talk about what wide could actually mean in everyday use, because this isn't just about numbers on a spec sheet. A wider form factor could make the cover screen feel less cramped for typing, browsing, and using apps without constantly feeling like you're on a narrow remote control display. It could also make the inner screen feel more like a true mini tablet, especially for split-screen multitasking. If you're the kind of user who runs two apps side by side, edits documents, reads PDFs, or wants a more natural layout for emails and web pages, a wider inner display ratio can be more comfortable and more practical than a taller one, even if the raw diagonal size looks similar on paper. According to the rumored details, the standard Galaxy Z Fold 8 could feature an 8.0-inch inner display, with a taller shape, while the Galaxy Z Fold 8 Wide may stick closer to a 7.6-inch inner display, but in a more tablet-like 4.3 style ratio. That's a fascinating trade-off. One model prioritizes a larger, taller canvas, while the other prioritizes a more natural, wider workspace. And if Samsung really is offering both, it would be a clear sign the company is finally acknowledging something foldable fans have been debating nonstop. Some people want maximum pocketability, and others want maximum usability. Samsung may be trying to deliver both without forcing everyone into the same shape. Now let's get into cameras, because the leaks also suggest Samsung is differentiating these two models with very intentional choices. The Galaxy Z Fold 8 Wide is rumored to feature a dual camera setup on the back, a cleaner and more minimalist look that could help keep the device slim and balanced. A dual camera system may also signal that the wide model is meant to be more about portability and productivity than about being the ultimate camera powerhouse. Meanwhile, the standard Galaxy Z Fold 8 is rumored to keep a triple camera system, which instantly suggests more flexibility, more focal lengths, better versatility, and more capability for people who want their foldable to do everything a top-tier flagship phone can do. There's also talk of a 200 megapixel main camera on the standard model, and while we should treat that carefully until it's confirmed, the direction is clear. Samsung appears to be pushing the standard Fold 8 toward the no-compromises flagship photography experience while letting the wide model focus on a streamlined design. Battery life is another area where the Galaxy Z Fold 8 series could make a meaningful leap. Foldables are power-hungry by nature, and anyone who uses the large inner display heavily knows how fast the battery can drop during multitasking, video streaming, or work sessions. That's why the rumored battery upgrades matter so much. Leaks suggest the Fold 8 could land around a 5,000 mAh battery, while the Fold 8 Wide may sit around 4,800 mAh. In real-world terms, even small increases can be huge on foldables, because you're not just powering one screen, you're powering two displays, more complex hardware, and more demanding usage patterns. If Samsung is genuinely pushing battery capacity upward, it could mean longer workdays, fewer charging stops, and a foldable that finally feels as reliable as a traditional flagship. And then there's charging. Rumors point to 45W fast charging support, which would be a big quality of life upgrade for people who live on tight schedules. Faster charging doesn't just sound good on a spec sheet, it changes how you use the phone. It means you can top up quickly before leaving the house, recover battery fast between meetings, and feel less nervous about heavy usage. If Samsung combines improved battery capacity with faster charging, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 lineup could become much more practical for power users who actually rely on their foldable as a primary device, not just as a cool secondary gadget. One of the most interesting rumors in the entire leak cycle is the S Pen situation, because it could become a major deciding factor between the two models. The standard Galaxy Z Fold 8 is still expected to support the S Pen externally, which usually means you can use it but you have to store it in a case or carry it separately. That works, but it's not seamless. The Galaxy Z Fold 8 Wide, however, is rumored to potentially include an integrated S Pen slot. If Samsung really does this, it's a massive deal for productivity fans and for anyone who misses the convenience of the old Galaxy Note experience. A wider foldable with a built-in stylus could instantly become the ultimate on-the-go work device, perfect for note-taking, document markup, sketching, and multi-window workflows without needing extra accessories, just to keep the pen with you. All of this points to a bigger strategy shift. Samsung may be planning to split the Fold lineup into two clear identities. One model for the traditional Fold user who wants the familiar slim form factor and flagship-level camera versatility, and a second model for the user who wants a wider, more tablet-like foldable experience that feels better for typing, multitasking, and productivity. If that's the plan, it's actually a smart way to serve more people without forcing one compromise on everyone. Of course, there's another side to all of this. These leaks also highlight how difficult it is for companies to keep next-gen devices under wraps in a connected world. When information appears through software, it suggests the leak could come from internal builds, testing environments, partner access, or development assets that weren't meant to be visible outside Samsung. For fans, it's exciting because you get an early look at what's coming and can decide whether it's worth waiting. For Samsung, it's a security problem because it loses the ability to control the story and the timing of the reveal. Still, even with the usual wait for official confirmation warning, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 and Galaxy Z Fold 8 wide leaks paint a very clear picture. Samsung is focusing on refinement where it matters: battery, charging, usability, and experimenting with something that could genuinely change how people feel about Fold design. The next big things to watch will be whether more One UI 9 references confirm the screen ratios and device dimensions, whether case makers and accessory brands leak shapes that match the wide passport-style concept, and whether we see stronger confirmation of the camera differences, dual versus triple, and the rumored 200mm main sensor on the standard model. If Samsung delivers a Galaxy Z Fold 8 that feels like the most refined version of the classic Fold, and a Galaxy Z Fold 8 Wide that finally solves the narrow screen problem with a more natural, wider format, this could be one of the most important foldable launches in years. Because at that point, the question won't be, should I buy a Fold? It'll be, which Fold is actually made for the way I use my phone?